Hey team, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we're going to convert numbers to text. I'm going to show you how to use partial classes. Then I'm going to show you how to use the resize mode on WPF window apps. Let's do this. Before we dive into the source code for this project, let me demo the features. First, this app uses a fixed size window. Enter your number here. After you click on the convert button, you see that I placed commas in between the segments. And then taking this number and turning those into words, we can then actually click on the Say Number button and actually listen to
1 quintillion, 234 quadrillion, 210.
You can increase the font size, decrease the font size, and copy this value into your clipboard. And that's the app. Make sure you use the Show Chapters feature to skip around this video. All of the source code for this video is available on my GitHub account. Let's create a new project. Notice I'm using Visual Studio's 2022. You want to click File, New, Project, and then come down and click WPF Application. Make sure it says C# Windows Desktop. Hit Next. And our project name will be number 2 words v2. Next. Framework.NET 7. Now to get this to work correctly, we need to add one NuGet package. Come down, right click on the project name, see where it says Manage NuGet Packages. Click on Browse, and then type in speech. Notice system.speech. Click Install, OK, and we are finished. Let's go to GitHub.com, softwareNuggets. Notice my CS numbers 2 words, click on that. And then here's the actual project. You can actually clone this whole project, but we're actually going to cherry pick files. So click on numbers 2 words. Do you see where it says MainWindow.xaml? Just click on that. And then in the corner here, click on this that says copy raw content. Go ahead and click that button. Now all of this source code is in your clipboard. Let's return to Visual Studios. Let us highlight all the code in MainWindow.xaml and then press Ctrl V. And there's all the source code for our XAML. We can click this button right here to toggle the screen. And if you watch the demo, this is what that screen is all about. In the file MainWindow.xaml, notice ResizeMode. It can be 4 options. No resize, that's the user cannot resize the window at all. Then can minimize, notice that the minimize button is available, and can resize with grip are both available if you want to do resizing. Let us add a file to our project. Come down and say add class, and then we're going to name this SayNumber.cs add. Now what we're about to do is I'm going to introduce you to partial classes. As you can see in the Solution Explorer, MainWindows.xaml.cs and SayNumber.cs. There are 2 unique files. The file names may be unique, but notice the class names are identical, main window. Notice in SayNumber.cs, I have declared 2 objects, 1 synthesizer, 2 voice list. However, in MainWindow.xaml.cs, you can see I have consumed them. Here is one more example of partitioning the code. Notice in SayNumber, we have the method setVoiceRates, and then in MainWindows.xaml.cs, I'm consuming that method. When we're in Visual Studios and we say build application, it actually brings these back together, and everything now is just in one file. Not so much the file, but just in the class MainWindow. The main reason to use a partial class is to split the implementation across multiple files. Here is a real example. I have another video called Text to Voice, and I've already written all of these methods. I don't want to write them again. So I have created a partial class where I don't have to cherry pick the methods. I just go grab that one class, bring it to a new app, and then I have all the functions available. Let's get the source code for SayNumber.cs. Click on SayNumber.cs, then click on the copy raw. That's up in our clipboard now. Let's return to the project. Click on SayNumber.cs. Notice SayNumber.cs. Highlight this and then Control V, paste that in there. Now, in just a moment, we're actually going to go over this source code so you understand it, but know that this is a partial class. In fact, it is a partial class with MainWindow.xaml.cs. Let's go back over to GitHub and get that source code as well. Click on MainWindow.xaml.cs. Click on the copy all. Then let's return to our project and make sure that we're in MainWindow.xaml. Control A, Control V, and it's all in there. Let us dive into MainWindow.xaml.cs. Okay, so on line 16 and 17, notice that I'm building two colors, orange and light orange. Remember when I demoed the app, I used them for font larger, font smaller. That's the colors that I'm displaying. Then it comes down to main. So you remember when we did this.synthesizer and I showed you that they came from a partial class? Well, I didn't define these two here. I defined them over in SayNumber, and here they are on lines 12 and 13. Notice they're nullable. And then I'm going to say set voice rates. Now, what is that all about? Well, let's go look at the XAML again. So at the bottom of the form, we have two combo boxes. One is for voices and one are for rates. Voices are the installed voices you have on your computer. Rates are the rate in which you want me to pronounce each word. So inside of our partial class, inside of the file called SayNumbers, we actually have the routine that actually loads them. See how it says set voice rate? And notice for that combo box, combo rate, see it's right here, combo rate. We're actually gonna put these values into that control. And notice I'm gonna select index as 1, 0, 1, 2. So I'll be selecting normal. After we get the rates loaded into that combo box, we're gonna load install voices. Let's go there, go to definition. And notice we're back over to SayNumber. Now remember, the only reason we partition this code is to make it easier. The next time I need a program that, like pronounces words, all I have to do is go get SayNumber and it pulls over all this source code for me. So here we're going to be using the speech synthesizer, and what happens on your Windows computer, you can install a bunch of voices. So this is going to call a method called getInstallVoices, and I'm going to loop over that list that I get from your computer, and I'm going to add them to voice list. If we look at the XAML, CBO voices is the name of our drop-down combo. CBO voices add items. I'm going to take that voice name, the voice gender, and the culture, and then I'm just going to stay inside of that loop until I load all the languages that are on your computer. Then I'm going to set the selected index to 0, and I'm going to return true. That return true came to this line 28. On line 33, notice we have a private void convert to string click. Well, if we go back to our XAML, notice the button over here, convert. Notice the name of the method is called convert to click, convert to string click. So I will be calling that method when I click on this button. Now notice that there's another class object that we're going to need to add to our project. So highlight that, Control C, and then come over here and say add new class object, Control V, and then add. And then guess what we're going to do? We're going to go out to GitHub and we're going to go get that class. You can see the file convert number to string CS. Click that. You know what to do now. Click on the copy raw. It's now in your clipboard. Come over here to our file that we just created, highlight everything, and then Control V. Now that we're in convert to string click, notice I created that class object just now, got the source code from GitHub, and now our first method is only numbers. Well, you can guess what that is. Imagine I have a user that tests the system and he types in A123, to see if my program will break. Well, it won't do that. Let's go take a look at what I did there. Definition. Now I'm in the class object called convert number to string. On 94, only numbers, so I pass in that number, whatever they sent me. Now if that number is null, nothing to convert. If the length of that is 0, I tell them nothing. Now if it starts off with a like it's not a digit, I'm going to tell them, hey, look, it needs to be a whole number. It's possible that they send in like -123. This only works for positive numbers. Then I'm going to loop over that entire input object, and I'm going to check to see if it's a digit. And if it is a digit, I'm going to keep adding it to this. And I'm going to return whatever I get. Now, if I get deep into the string, like a 1, 2, 3, and then some, I just bypass those alpha characters. So new string is just numeric. You can see just a simple if clause. If just numbers, if it equals that dash, that negative, then we're out of here. Or nothing to convert, we're out. Only if it's not that do I get in here. So I'm going to take just numbers and I'm going to put it into input numbers.text. That's our field that we got the value from. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to format that number with a bunch of commas so I can make it readable. Whenever you go over, like 100,000, it starts to get hard to read what a number is. And notice this is a one-liner. It's using the string.format command. I'm going to be looking at position 0, and it's num0 will give me the commas. We're then going to take that number and I'm going to parse that with int 128. And then using that as my input, I'm going to go back to this class we just created, and I'm going to say convert that number. I'm going to convert that number, just numeric values, to words. And then the output of this function goes to S, and then S will be assigned to number in words. That is the large text box on our form I have highlighted here. Now, if I get a boo-boo in there, I'm going to say it's invalid number to convert. And pretty much that is the main button on this whole form. Let us step through this conversion. Our number is 14,635. So number 14,625, is that number 0? Nope. I is set to 0. Now we're going to take that number and we're going to mod it by 1,000, and that's going to go into n, F10. And that number is 635. So now we're going to say, is n not equal 0? Well, nope, we see that it's 635. Now we're going to go call that function convert as scale. Now I passed in 635 here. Now the first thing we do is we take 635 and we mod it by 100. And what is that value? When we take 635, mod it by 100. So that value is 35. And then we're going to say, is 35 less than 10? Nope. Is 35 less than 20? Nope. Now look what we're doing. We're going to take num mod 100, kind of like what we solved here, and that value is 35. Then 35 divided by 10 on the integer is 3. So 10's sub 3 is what we're going to put in temp. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down to the 10's, and it's 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. So we're getting 30. So temp will now equal 30, F10. We see that's 30. And now look at the int one place. Int mod 135 mod 10. So the largest number can be 1 minus this number. So the largest number could be 9. So what would that be? What would 35 mod 10 be? F10? And that number is 5. So what we're going to do is we're then going to say, is 5 greater than 0? Yes, it is. Then you can see here, we're going to concatenate temp with itself. So temp equals temp plus whatever we're doing over here. And what did we set at the ones place? The ones place was 5. So temp is going to equal 35 with a dash in there. F10. Okay, you see that. And now we're going to get down to line 79. So now we're going to take the number, the original number that we sent in here, and we're going to divide that by 100. And that's going to give us 6. And you can see num divided 100 is 6. Then is num divided by 100, is it 0? No, it's not. We just saw that it was 6. And then we're going to ask, is that number greater than 99? Well, we know number to be 635, F10. So then we're going to say 1 sub 6. So that will give us 635, F10. Going to return. So now section equals 635. Then you can see here that we're going to build a string.format. Section, what we just built, is going to go into this 0, and scale sub I is going to go to this 1. Well, we initialize I to 0, and scale sub 0 is empty string. So F10, and I'm going to divide it by 100. So now we're looking at 14. Okay, does that make sense? And then F10, incrementing I, F10. And then 14, F10. We're going to go into the scale, F11. What is I mod 114? Is 14 less than 10? Nope. Is 14 less than 20? Yes. So temp equals 14. F10. Return. What are we returning? We're returning excellent. And then when we get up here, we're going to do 14. And what's scale sub 1? Scale sub 1 is 1,000. So remember, we did 14,635, F10, and 0. I'm going to join the elements. So our elements is a list. We define that here on line 28. And you can see here that we have the 14,000 and we have the 635. We're going to join them, and joining these elements of a list, putting a comma in between the elements, F10. I'm going to put that as in words, and then we get the value 14,635. And there you have it, team. Numbers to text. It's a great routine. And you got the say that came from another project to be able to say the words, not only words, but numbers. If you have any questions or comments about this video, please leave them below. And that's all I have. Take care.